welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is KnewNeverYou, and today I am in the Lioness den with a bunch of people I am related to or married to. Well, just married to one. But today we got the 100 subscribers special. Came out of nowhere, but you're getting it. It's what you didn't ask for, but you're getting it anyway. So today we're gonna go down the list. Right here I have my sister, and I'll let you introduce yourself for a second.
Hello, my name is Kim, and I'm the oldest and the shortest. So
All right, and then and right here we have my aunt, Aunt Violet. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Violet Avis Brown Wilson, and I think I'm the youngest on here of my clan. I live in Jackson. I have 3 children, 2 stepchildren, 5 grandchildren, and a 62-year-old son. A lot of fun.
All right, we're gonna call her 21 Savage because she got 2 cars and a 6-car garage. And then right here we have my cousin Erica. She's getting it in at the gym, but she joined us anyway. Erica, let us know about yourself, please.
Hey y'all. Well, like he said, I'm his cousin Erica. I'm at the gym trying to get summertime fine. I feel it's a privilege that he invited me to, what do you call it, the Lion's Den. I think it's a very good topic that we're going to talk about. And I can't wait to hear what everyone has to say.
All righty, and we have some returning members here. We have, as you may know her as Mama New, my madre. So if you want to introduce yourself again, you can, or you can just skip yourself. It doesn't matter. But I guess it does matter.
Skip yourself.
She said, skip myself. I'm Sonia Chambers, and I just have a PhD in the hard knocks of life. Hey, everybody.
All right, Jay-Z quote. Here's my wife. I don't think she was my wife before on the channel, but she is now. So things change, and here we are. So introduce yourself, please.
Hey everyone, I'm Mrs. KnewNeverYou, and I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to see what everyone has to say. Let's do this.
All right. And let me just fix this. There we go. And then last but certainly not least, my Aunt KB is here with us today. And KB, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
I'm Oluwawe Imo Adeyemo, and I'm so thankful to be included. Thank you.
Very welcome. Very welcome. Thank you all for being here. And like we discussed in the little warm-up that we had, it's basically going to be a conversation between me as a generalization for most men, and then the experiences that you all had with men and how you feel about certain things that men do, what you wish men would understand, what you wish men would change. And hopefully we will come to some solutions, come to some common ground, and save some relationships, and just be able to help as many people as we can. So I will start off with a little question for you all, and it's going to be kind of hard not to step over each other, but we'll figure it out, and we'll just make it work. So it's a small question, but I think it's a big question. What are some of the things that you as women go through that you feel that men are not accommodating to, as far as like they don't understand enough to, I don't want to say not care, but not be as compassionate about, if that makes sense.
Communication and quality time.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I think one of the biggest issues with me is empathy.
So communication, quality time, and empathy. Okay.
Listening is a good one as well.
All right, let me get my notebook. All right. Is there any more, or are we just going to start with those?
I think that's a
Nah,
pretty good start.
yeah, there are a lot more, but we'll get started with those.
Okay, so the first one that I heard was communication and quality time. So is this something that all of you all share, or is it just Erica that kind of feels like that? And if it's more than Erica, elaborate on how men don't kind of communicate or have that quality time, please.
I'm not
Well,
speaking for Eric, but I think
Oh, go ahead.
what she means by communication is men think a lot differently than women. And so it's hard for us to interpret, translate, figure out the hidden messages when communicating with men, because our brains are just on two totally different brain waves.
And also,
think-
men are not taught how to communicate. Not necessarily just men, but women as well are not taught how to communicate. We kind of expect you to understand the other view.
I think it's a generational thing too. Way back in the day, the woman was expected to keep the house clean, wash dishes, cook, take care of the children, where the man was supposed to go out and provide all of those things. Well, over the years, that has changed tremendously. We've had the opportunity to get out there and work for our own meat and bread, so to say. So when we look at what we have been through, then it's kind of easy for me to see why they're this way now. Not that it's right or wrong
Right,
in my relationship.
right. So we'll start with what Hope said, thinking differently. Like, when you say think differently, can you give me an example of what you mean as far as you try to interpret or we interpret things differently? Like, do you have a scenario, or do you just a generalization of that we think differently?
I think without being in a relationship or in a relationship, most people hear what they want to hear. And a lot of people don't always listen with the intention to listen. Most people are listening with the intention to reply. And it's tough to receive information, especially if it's something tough to discuss or something that maybe you may disagree on or feel compassionate about, or some people don't like being wrong.
Yeah, I'm definitely among those men that don't like to be wrong. Let me take this hat off.
Could you say that again?
I said
Look
I'm
at me.
definitely whatever. I'm definitely among some of those men that don't like to be wrong, but in that um, same boat, I think that the communication aspect is is difficult for men to women, because when we say something as men, we kind of just say it, and just that's kind of it. I feel like men try to explain things as short and simple as possible, and then women kind of just drag it on. And as a man, like, I don't want to hear you talk for 40 minutes about taking out the trash. If you could just say, hey, could you take out the trash? But it's like, if you don't take out the trash the first time, let's say, the next time there's a speech, and then the next time there's an even longer speech. And it's like, women don't let go of the first time we didn't do it. So the second time we don't do it, you hear about the first time and the second time. And then the third time, you hear about the first time, the second time, and this time. So it's, for me, it's like, just get to the point is
I
the
feel
nicest
attacked.
way I could say it.
Just kidding.
So why is it that when men get in the group, that scenario that you just put out there, if
Mhm.
a man does it the first time, they call him a wimp. But if you just ignore it the first couple of times, you know, y'all can respect that. But y'all think the man doing it the first time that they're actually call him a wimp.
Um, I know that there is a lot of men that feel like that when they do something that a woman asks, that it's kind of um emasculating, I guess a lot of men would say, because they feel like a woman shouldn't have the place to tell the man how to do anything, especially when the man's supposed to be the head of the household. But those dudes probably don't have anybody that loves them to the point where they understand the I want to use the right words because I don't want y'all to attack me.
I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's probably gonna happen. But I don't think men that act like that understand the genuine love that a woman has when she asks him to do certain things, like take out the trash or wash the dishes. And when they're among those group of their men friends, it's like, oh yeah, man, well, she was complaining about changing the trash. You know, I ain't do it. It's like, yo, you ain't do it, you ain't do it, you ain't do it. You know, it's like they call it men talk, but really it's just that that and you see it a lot in the TV shows and media where, you know, the man's supposed to be like this superior being to women. So if a woman says something, it can be up for debate. But if a man says something, then it's not up for debate, because they try to make that hierarchy where the man's at the top and then the woman's at the very bottom. And then there's levels that a woman has to get through in order for a man to listen. And it's not right. It's definitely not right. And I just think those men don't realize that how deep a love for a man is when they're telling him to do certain things or asking him to do certain things. And that other stuff, as far as the men amping him up about not doing it, it's just peer pressure, like teenage boy stuff that translates into manhood because they don't learn how to be better.
That last phrase that you said, they don't know how to do better. We tell our children, okay, when you know better, you do better. So the next time that you do what you're not supposed to do, then it's going to be trouble. So it goes to the form of teaching, being taught how to treat a woman. A woman's first boyfriend, so to say, is their dad. And usually you find someone that's like your dad. I'm still looking, but usually that's what you look for in a man. Somebody, well, let me change it. That's what I look for in a man. Uh, Going back to the teaching, our parents were set, I guess you say, in the Stone Age. The men were expected to be the head of the family. That's what God ordained them to be. Man is head of the family. And they carried that role very strongly. I'm supporting my family. I'm working. I'm giving them the things that they need. And do they come home and say, I've been working all day. I'm tired. Don't ask me to pick up my own plate and wash it. You come on down through the years to the 20th century. I'm really venting too, because because I can ask Greg, can you wash the dishes tonight? Oh, the dishes need washing. Didn't you just eat off of a dish? It can't wash itself. Look and learn. And sometimes we as wives are teaching the men how they're supposed to be. I taught my son, you never hit a woman. You never talk down to a woman. And he may get someone that's totally opposite of what I've been teaching him against. But men, like women, have to go through things in order to learn. Some are good listeners. Some you have to, okay, you got 3 more times and that's going to be it. But men, as far as women, we have our own chips on our shoulders. And we have to work through to see where we belong. I'm still working. I'm still working on it.
And you were gonna say something, Kim?
Yeah, for me, it's everything that everyone has said, but you also something that takes into account comprehension levels. Not to say that any of us are stupid or, beneath the other, but if we're having a serious conversation and you don't comprehend or understand half the stuff that is coming out of my mouth, then that's a breakdown. That's something that needs to be worked on both ways. Whether you say, okay, I don't understand what you're saying, could you break it down a little bit more? Or us as educated Black women have to, I don't want to say dumb it down, but just speak it in terms that everyone can understand it across the board. And for me and my house, I know there's a lot of conversations that me and Derek have that I'll say something and he be looking at me like, and I'm like, okay, you didn't understand what I said. So, okay, let me back it up and let me break it down a little bit more. And then it's the same way with him. So when you make communication, there's something that I feel as though also needs to be taken into account. Like, you understand your mate's language. You understand, what they know, what they don't know, what they understand and what they don't understand. So with you guys meeting each other halfway, should build the communication, but it also could be a deterrent because they don't understand what you're saying half the time. So that's what I wanted to add.
Erica, anybody else have anything to add on that?
I agree with Kim, what she said. If you pretty much are having a conversation, and not just with your significant other, but with anybody, you're having a conversation with them and you or them aren't understanding what the other person is saying, then I mean, you're pretty much aren't getting anywhere. And I see a lot of times that when that happens, people kind of shut down where they don't understand because the other person they're talking to, I guess, isn't explaining to them in a way that they understand. So I guess they kind of get frustrated and just kind of let stuff be as it is. And I think that that's a big problem because I myself used to do that, or I would get, real heated in a conversation and I would just completely shut down because if I didn't, all HELL would break loose and then we still wouldn't get anywhere. But what I had to learn to do was if I don't understand or if I would get so upset, even if I do shut down, okay, hey, we need to revisit where we left off. I have a more cooler head now. I'm open to understanding where you're coming from, and what I don't understand, I'm gonna need you to explain it a little bit better, or maybe word it a little different to where I can understand. We can continue this conversation in a much healthier way. And just like what Kim said about, dumbing things down, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because I believe that everybody at some points needs something explained a little bit different or need things simplified more so than often to understand and to have that healthy communication that's needed.
Well, that was very well put from all of you all. Mom and KB, do you all have anything to add? Hope? No?
Well,
Go ahead.
communication is key in every relationship, personal, business, anything. Communication is absolutely necessary. And we have to learn that what we're saying may not be what's being heard because people can misunderstand what we're saying and we cannot say, you know what I meant. Well, that's not what you said. You have to explain it. And that's true for all of us because so many arguments can be averted if we understand. So one thing that we can do is say, what I'm hearing you say is so and so. No, that's not what I said. That's what I heard, but that's not what I meant. So when you get on the same level, things become a lot clearer. And like Erica said, if you go at it and things get heated, you're not going to accomplish anything. So the best thing to do is agree, let's table this until we can both be calm. And my husband and I used to agree we both can't be stupid at the same time. So that's true in every relationship. And communication crosses every aspect of a relationship. In marriages or in other relationships like that, communication and finances are the biggest deal breakers. So when we learn to communicate and when we learn to deal with finances wisely, we have a lot going on with us. If you can communicate, that's huge.
It really is a huge issue because I go through that a lot. I'll hear, pick up the trash. So I'll go to pick up the trash. Why didn't you pick up the trash? Yeah, I did what you said. You said pick up the trash. Well, you know what I meant. I'm I'm right in the middle of that. And communication goes back to teaching, in my opinion. We have to be taught how to deal with each other, our significant other, boyfriend, even brothers.
Sometimes we have to teach each other. Somebody said that we learn to speak each other's language. We have to learn each other. That's true for anybody. Otherwise, we'll stay in turmoil.
Well, I think it's crazy how the first three things that we brought up was communication, empathy, and listening. And talking about communication transition into listening, and then listening transition into empathy. So we can easily talk about all three things without having to swap around. It's pretty fluid, but listening to you all describe essentially the same thing, but in different ways, just it kind of blows my mind because I've heard all these things before, but when it's all said at one time, it's like a puzzle piece. Like it makes a big picture and it makes sense now. Now, I will say that I am definitely one of those people that is I listen, but when I communicate, I feel like I'm on a different level than who I'm talking to sometimes, because I've educated myself beyond the normal realms of what I was supposed to be educated as in school. So when I'm communicating certain things, I realize listening to you all that, and I'm not saying that any of the people that I'm talking to are not well educated, but I might say a word that you don't know what the word means in the context of what I'm saying it. And me trying to give you the benefit of the doubt as a woman, I feel like you either should already know what the word means in the context of the sentence, or you should know what I'm saying. And the same way I can't read your mind, I shouldn't expect for you to read mine either. So it's definitely not fair on the men's aspect to say that women always want us to read their minds and know how they feel. But in the same regard, we do the same thing. We just don't do it the same way. For us, it may come out as aggression, or we shut down, because obviously, if we get upset as men, I mean, technically we could hit you as women, but that's not going to solve anything. And that just breaks up a dynamic altogether. And we're really back at square zero, because if we hit you, we're going to prison. And nothing gets solved, nothing gets fixed, nothing gets, it gets broken. And like you all said, that it's kind of communication is kind of taught. that's one of the things they don't really teach you in school. They teach you how to be around other people, but they don't teach you how to learn other people's backgrounds or be empathetic to the situations people have gone through. Um, and as young boys, you're more interested in, well, a lot of the times more interested in sleeping with the prettiest girl in school. You don't really care about her background or where she came from or who she is. All you know is that she's attractive to you, and that's all that matters. So you're not listening to anything she says. You're not communicating how you feel or listening to her communication about how she feels about certain things. You're just in there for one goal: get it, get down, get out. And I think that is one of the things that society puts on men that is kind of hard to break, because if you look at a lot of commercials, they over sexualize women. And it's not about how smart a woman is or what a woman can do or what a woman knows. It's about how pretty she is or how she looks in lingerie or whatever. So for men, it's kind of hard for us to listen to you because we're indoctrinated in all this stuff that really is supposed to be set for you to get after you've listened, after you've been compassionate, after you've put in that time, that quality effort. But it's like the complete opposite, because all we know is sex, money, and power. Because if you have money and power, that gets you sex. If you have sex, you have power over a woman. And then it's just this evil triangle. And so I hear what you all are saying, but that's, in my opinion, is why a lot of men don't communicate well, because a lot of us are trying to get to an end game, and we don't know how to communicate with you. We don't know how to tell you how we feel, because if we do, we're afraid that we're going to be a kid again. We're going to be looked at as a powerless boy that can't take care of you, can't provide for you, can't meet the standards that you may have for us that may be realistic or unrealistic. So when we communicate, it feels like sometimes we're losing that power. And that's part of the reason why we don't, in my opinion. Does anybody have anything to add to that?
Well, excuse me for keep interrupting, but I thought about the Bible verses that talk to the older women, to the fathers and the older men. The older women are to teach the younger women. The older men are to teach the younger men. And we have to stop allowing the world to define our relationships. Otherwise, we're going to have more of what you're talking about, because that's the world standard. And the church is a counterculture. We have to act differently instead of acting like the world. The world should act like us, you know? And the ideas that we see on television or the media, whatever, gives the impressions that you're talking about. And if you're not like that, you're a loser. The exact opposite of what things should be.
Anybody else?
Well, I think you all are doing a good job. I'm just listening and getting little nuggets. But it's a lot of it goes from experience. Just like when you're raising a child, you don't have a handbook of what to do, how to do, and when to do. And you as you grow, you obtain that knowledge. And you said something really powerful when you said that when a man submits to understanding what a woman is asking him to do and working with her, that in his eyesight takes away from his manhood. And I understand what you're saying about that. But if you're with the right person, that can bond you and grow you so much close together when you come in one agreement and you understand each other, and you can get in that flow where you go higher and higher in your marriage, in your relationship, in your understanding and communication. But like they said before, we're not taught that, and we have to learn. Just like when you're raising a child and you're going with what you were taught, when they disobey, you spank a child. But a child doesn't understand. And if you don't communicate to that child, you're doing this wrong, we're going to do it that way, that child is going to grow, and the first thing he does is spank a child. And that cycle goes on and on. But once you know better, you do better, and you try to, just like KB said, each one teach one. But I think that's powerful what you just said about men feeling like it's pulling away from their manhood. And that's really not what most women, you have some that are doing that, but that's really not what most women are doing. They want you to understand what I'm feeling, what I'm saying. And that will make me, in my headspace, say that you're getting it, that you want to work on the relationship.
Anybody else want to say anything on that?
Wow. All of this sounds good. All of this sounds good. I remember back when uh, we were growing up, KB, Sonia, uh, Dad would work. I remember the time where he had 2 jobs. And I asked him one day, I said, Dad, I said, why do you work so hard, so much? And he looked at me in his meek and humble voice and said, with 10 mouths to feed, I don't have a choice. And to me, that's what a man is supposed to do. Take care of it. And when we are sick and the laundry is late and done and the food has burned because you're trying to take care of the children, that's the empathy I'm talking about. You see that the house is falling down. I shouldn't have to ask you to pick up that piece of paper that you threw on the floor intentionally. I shouldn't have to tell you, go break the kids up. We empathy, empathy. And the thing that somebody said about learning each other. That's a hard thing to do. And there again, you have to have 2 in order to do that. The first thing I would tell a young woman, if they were talking about dating and getting married, I would tell them to pray and ask the Lord to lead your thoughts, your eyesight, your tongue, and your walk. The second thing I would tell them, go and do everything that you think you might want to do. Travel, invest, talk to people in foreign countries, do everything that you want to do, then live on your own for at least a year to make sure that you know you can take care of yourself. Then you got to have a vehicle, so you're going to have a job. Things that grow are going to have to be nurtured. And that's the thing that marriages, relationships, families need. We need to be nurtured. Once we're nurtured in the right way, you put in the right amount of water, the right amount of plant food, that tree is going to grow, or that plant is going to grow. And in my marriage, it's still growing. We're still learning. We've been married for 35 years. Is it 35, Erica? I think 35 years. And we're still growing, still growing, still growing. So we have to learn each other. And that goes back to teaching.
And that learning each other can take a lifetime in itself. And
Right.
communication, I think, is real important, because as you grow different. And if you're not communicating, you can grow apart. But that's a part of life. As you get older, you grow. You should anyway. You should grow.
Yeah, I understand that. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So devil's advocate. There's I don't know the statistics about two-parent homes, a mom and a father. I don't know the statistics. I don't know the numbers. I just know that that's not the design people are going for now. That's not the end. I know a lot of people that I was friends with in high school didn't have their fathers. So it's 6 or 7 guys kicking it, barbecues, chicken, whatever, just having a good time. And we don't know. We may have had one good example at the time of how a man should treat a woman, how a man should be a man. And being raised by women for the majority of my life, if not all of it, there's certain things that obviously I picked up, and then there's certain things that I obviously didn't, because there's, no matter how good the intentions are of a woman, she can never teach a boy how to be a man, because she's not one.
Amen to that.
She can teach him how she may have wanted a man to be for her, but that's, even then, that's still just maybe 1 to 2% of it. And me personally, I mean, I watched my mom raise us by herself, and I saw the men that she married, my brother's father and my sister's father, and I know that I've seen the mistakes on both sides. And my dad, or our dad, me and Kim's dad, I mean, he made a lot of mistakes, and it was the longest time that I didn't want to be like him because of the things that he did, and I focused more on that than focusing on how I could be better. And so I made some of the same mistakes. I made some of the same problems and create the same issues. And for the longest time, I would blame those situations of only being raised by women, not being raised by a man, not having good role models, instead of seeking those things. But as a teenager, you're just trying to figure out who you are. So not only am I trying to figure out who I am, I'm trying to find a role model. I'm trying to find a good role model. I mean, I was not a good kid. I was terrible. And looking like being an adult now, an adult man now, I realized how terrible I was. And I mean, I had all those male tendencies, pride, ego, high self-esteem. I felt like I was smarter than every woman that I met. I felt like I was above every woman that I met. And I had no empathy. I didn't care what women said. I didn't care about how they felt. But being married now and being in a relationship with Hope for 5 years, I'd say if Hope had been any other woman that wasn't as strong as she was, then I probably would have never learned anything because Hope's more so like my mom, and she'll take some things, but when it gets to that point, and we ain't going no further than that. And so I was blessed enough to have women in my life that were, I would say, as strong as most men. And they were the breadwinners. They were the go-getters, the achievers, the overachievers. They set standards and they reached them. And 9 times out of 10, they did above what they were planning on doing. And so for me, still knowing that, I still messed it up because there was still no men in my life telling me like, this is going to happen. Women are going to feel like this. You're going to be in situations where you're going to have to submit. You're going to have to listen. You're going to have to be there in situations you don't understand, not because you're less than, but because she's going to have your back in situations where you don't think you need a woman to have your back. But when it's there, that support, that emotional support, that love, that can keep you going in situations by yourself you would never surpass. And I know I haven't been empathetic to a lot of women's issues and understanding, because there's just some things I don't get. There's some things I won't ever get. I want to learn, I want to know, I want to do better, but I just know as of right now, there's certain things like how you all process things. I just don't get it. And I'm learning to be more accommodating to feelings, because I just know you all have a different set of emotions that men do. But I think that a lot of men, they're just scared. They don't want to let that pride go. They don't want to say that they're wrong. They don't want to have to admit that, they messed up, because that's a sign of failure. And like we said earlier, I think it was either Ain't Valid or Ain't KB that when a man feels like he failed, or he's not meeting the status quo of what social media says a man is, then he's a loser. And who wants, what woman wants a loser? And I think that's the cause of a lot of things, is that pride, that male ego, and the fear of, being less than, or just being not good enough. Anybody else want to chime in?
We must be allies, not adversaries. That's very important.
Well, I'll chime in because, like you said, you were raised by all women as well as I. Our father was, absent from our home. But where I was raised by a lot of strong women. So hold on, somebody's calling my phone. So at times I feel as though I was raised to be too strong, because that's like when me and Derek first got together, started dating, and all of that. Is like, okay, I don't need you. I don't need you. Like, I can do it myself. Like, it's that mindset that I had, and I've had it for years. And it's sometimes I don't show my emotion a lot because I feel as though that is a sign of weakness to me. And I want to show my girls how strong a woman can be, but then that's also hindering them, because what if they find a man, that wants to be there for them, that wants to be the strong person for them, but I've taught them the way that I was taught, and that was to be just too strong, too independent, not dependent on anyone but yourself. So that was something that I had to learn to try to dial down. I'm still working on it. I don't think I quite got the whatever. Ain't nobody actually know. But I haven't quite got that down pat. But it's just the way that I was raised, the women that I'm still around. There's no men in our family. My son is actually the first male that was born into my family. Derek is the first man that has married into the family and is still in the family. So yeah, it's difficult, but that's just something that I'm still working on me. And that's something that I tell him all the time, I'm not used to this. I'm not what I call your normal female. I have emotions. I don't show them. I'm not the lovey-dovey type. I don't want to be hugged all up, and no, I don't want that. I just want to be left alone. I like my space. So yeah, I can see where that can hinder a man as well as, a woman being raised by strong women. But like I said, I'm working on it. Just haven't quite got the hang of it yet.
I want to
We
piggyback off
need
what
each other
Kim
too,
just
Kim.
said, because I'm the same way. I don't know if I was necessarily taught to be this, or if it's just the way I am. Everything she said, I completely agree with, because I'm the exact same way. I've always been this way. Um, I guess because I've always had the mindset that I only have myself, and it's pretty much because my mom and my daddy both taught me don't depend on anybody. So that's kind of what stuck with me. And to this day, even with Boo, well, I'm not gonna say he tries to do things. He does things for me, and I try to, repay him, because in my mind, I'm supposed to take care of me, not anyone else. And like you said about the feelings, yeah, that's definitely me. I will hold them in until I can't hold them in anymore. But I know earlier someone said, I think it was like Sonya, about when if you're with the right person, and I think that's really important, because they bring out everything in you that you've been holding in with everybody else. And I'm still, just like Kim say, she's working on it. I'm still working on it too, but I see myself now, I guess, being more open about everything. not just, you know, my feelings. Like if I need help with this or with that, or, you know, the small things, I'm more open to going to him and letting him know, you know, and allowing him to help. But there's still a piece in me deep down inside when I do that, that feels kind of, I don't know the right word to use, but it's a feeling like, you know, maybe you shouldn't, you know, you've always taken care of yourself or gotten this done, you know, don't, I guess the feeling of not wanting to bother anybody. But just like Einstein said, when you, if you have the right person, your person, the person that's for you, I guess it'll become a little bit easier to be, I guess, not so strong and to allow a man to be there for you and help take care of you. Yeah, I just want to piggyback off of what Kim said, and I feel like she was kind of talking about me.
I'm talking about us, Erica.
All good, valid points. Anybody else?
Erica, I was the one that taught you to depend on nobody else, not your daddy. Don't give my credit away. I taught you how to be strong. She walked away.
I'm sure she can hear you. She has earphones in.
Ah, some people may feel that they're still waiting for Mr. Right. Um, I know when I first got married, the first few years, I felt as if I had not gotten with the perfect person or the right person. And there were several times my little one said, "Oh, you said the D word." There were several times I wanted to do the D word, which is divorce. And every time I got to that point, the Lord threw something in my way and made me stay. The third time it happened, I said, "Well, I guess I'm supposed to be here." I said, "Lord, you know my purpose. I don't know what my purpose is. It may be to help him grow to be a better person. I don't know. But I taught you to be strong, Errol. See how you're holding that dumbbell?
That's a bar.
That's the old, see? But
I think Kim said a lot of things that a lot of us can relate to on this call, because I think the women on this call are very strong women. And I think as a strong woman myself, I can relate to a lot of that as well. But mostly because I do want to take care of myself. I do want to be independent, but I also don't want to be vulnerable. So I try to be strong and I try to put up that no emotions, and we can't show the wrong emotions because it doesn't make you stronger to not have emotions, I guess, if that makes sense. I think a lot things that I experienced growing up was in a single parent household, but I wanted to try to do different. I wanted to break the mold. I wanted to, start a different direction, be in a different relationship than what I've seen or, grew up around, things like that. And I don't think it was a bad thing, but I think it does go back to being taught. We learn by example. And even if we do learn by example growing up, we can still be better. We can still learn our partner. We can still figure out what their love languages are. We can figure out how they communicate and try to learn about them, because it's only going to better our relationship. And I think that we can still be strong and we can still be graceful, but it's a tough balance. And I think that's something that we all struggle with, men or women, is that balance.
Yeah, so it sounds like the more that we sit and talk and discuss the differences between us as men and women, the more that a lot of this stuff is the same thing. We all want to be respected. We all want to be heard. We all want to feel loved and cared for. And we're all afraid of being hurt, because when you're hurt by somebody you care about, you love, or whatever, it's not like you can go get Robitussin or Neosporin to get rid of it. It's deep inside, and it's not a 24-hour virus. It doesn't go away after you go to sleep. It may be with you for 2 months, 3 years, for the rest of your life. You may just be in pain over something somebody did because they didn't have empathy. They didn't listen to you. They just wanted to use you. And it's like building a fire pit. Just use that for an example. You take one brick, you put it down, you take another brick, you put the cement between it, you stick it together. You got one issue, you stick it to another issue, and you just keep building these issues until you build this wall around you that eventually somebody that loves you, that wants to love you anyway, is gonna have to take a pickaxe and break each issue down and down and down. And I think if we look at it that way, and if that person's the only person digging at your issues, they're going to get tired, because I don't know if you've ever used a pickaxe to do anything, but about 20 minutes after beating on something, your hands and your arms are like shaking and they hurt. And let's say that person takes a break from breaking down your wall, you still got issues. So you're still building back these issues. And they're at the same spot they began with that pickaxe, going for 20 minutes. But like we were saying, if it's two of you, that's twice as much. And if somebody gets tired while somebody's resting, the person that's tired can take a break. The person that's resting can come back. So even if you do have issues, you can work on those issues while you're resting, while the other person is tackling what's already behind you. And it's kind of like rowing a boat. One person's rowing, the other person's pulling, or I don't know how it works, but it sounded cool in my head. But you it's that effort. Like if you look at anything that's crafted or made, like rope, it's usually two strands that are just going back and forth, building a tighter rope. Shovel is a piece of wood and a piece of metal. It's bonded together. It's like all these things, they're strong by themselves, but they're even stronger together. So it's incredible how we're kind of like rope, men and women. We can get far by ourselves, and we can either attach ourselves to another, like me as a man attach myself to another man's rope, as weird as that sounds, and get further. But if we don't have the woman's perspective, then we may be strong, but we don't know all the angles. We don't know all the perspectives. So what we could have did in 3 years may take us 6 years, because we're just going from our own experiences. We're not learning from women. We're not learning, the insight that women have, because all the stuff that you all have been saying, some of it I knew, some of it I didn't, but it's not something that I take lightly, and it's something that I can use to help be a better man, be a better future father, be a better husband, to hope, and try to break some of these generational curses that I've experienced in my life with our kids. And I mean, you all talked about still learning. If we're, going based off the human experience, we're gonna keep learning if we want to. We're gonna keep learning, keep growing until we're just done. And I think once you stop learning, once you stop trying to be better, that's when everything falls apart. And that's when everything becomes an issue. And starting over is a lot harder than starting where you are. And I know Aunt KB's a huge, huge scholar of the Bible. And so I kind of let her do the verses and stuff because I don't want to misquote anything, but I know that it's not good for us to be alone, man to be alone by himself, woman to be alone by herself. And, we're stronger together, more so than apart. More so now than ever, because the dynamic of the world is trying to make it to where it's okay to be in a single parent home. And it's never okay. It's never going to be okay. We need a solid foundation of men and women standing up saying, all right, we're going to go against the grain, because the grain right now is saying that do what you want to do. If you want to have an abortion, cool. If you want to be a strong woman, an independent woman that doesn't need a man, do that. And you can tell that it's not working because all these people are killing themselves. All these people are turning to drugs and alcohol. All these people are depressed, and they're blaming it on the pandemic, but we were by ourselves for the pandemic. And if you're in a single house by yourself and you couldn't go anywhere for a year and a half, like, who were you talking to? Who are you learning from? What were you teaching your kids if it's just you? They can't go anywhere. You're going to run out of experiences to tell them. You're going to get frustrated. There's nobody alleviating you from the pain that you're feeling because it's just you. And we can't do that. We can't allow people that don't care about us as people to dictate how we're going to live as people. So we have to be the ones that change if we want to see change. We can't expect change if the world doesn't know what change is. Anybody else got? Anybody else want to add to that?
This has been excellent, and we need each other.
I do want to say this because I'm the only man here. I do want all of you, Kim, Unvalid, Erica, Mom, Hope, and KB, to know that everything that you've done in life to benefit somebody else hasn't gone, it hadn't been for nothing. Because I think this video right here proves that, because when I came up with this idea, I wanted people, women on here more so than men, because I think that men's views of the world are important. But I mean, we see the president's a man. You see men every day. Just because they're not good men doesn't mean you don't see them. But you don't see a lot of women that get to express how they feel about certain things, and without being cut off, without being told that they're wrong. And I think it's important to tell you all that you've done a good job in your regards. You've got a lot further than the world probably wanted you to do. And you're probably going to do more things than the world wants you to do. But this is a testament of you not giving up. Even if you had to do it by yourself as a human being, you got through it. And you don't have to continue to do it by yourself, but you don't don't think of yourself less as anybody, regardless of what anybody says, regardless of what anybody does, because we're all human. We all have emotions. We all have things that we're dealing with. We all have battles that we're trying to overcome. And just because you may not be as physically strong as certain men, I mean, the mind is what matters, the heart, because without those two things, yeah, I can have as many muscles as I want, but if you destroy my psyche, destroy who I am, you beat me, and I'm stronger than you, technically. So I appreciate the sacrifices that you've all made as mothers and future mothers and women that lived in a world that probably didn't care for you like they should have. And I can't take any of that pain back. And I know it's been a lot because I've talked to all of you about a lot of different things. But I want to say that I'm sorry that you had to go through all that by yourself, and you had to learn all these things by yourself, because it's not fair. It's not fair of the men that you had in your life that weren't they weren't up to standard. They were cowards. They were weak, and they didn't give you what you needed. They didn't listen. They didn't care. They didn't pay attention. And I know that deep down somewhere, probably, that there's resentment for those dudes, but it's not worth it. You made it without them, and they were the ones that missed out. They were the ones that will never see the greatness that you all have become and will become. And I know it's not my fault, but I'm sorry all the same, because I understand from my point of view.
I remember talking with mother. Oh, we used to talk a lot. And I was telling her some of the things that I've experienced. And when I finished talking, she said, "Oh, bye. I'm so sorry you had to go through that." And when you said it, it brought back some of those emotions, and it let me know I did make it. That it's in the past. It's behind me. I'm still going forward. So I really appreciate this platform, because there's some things that I'm guilty of that I can correct, and some things that I can shoot for. So I appreciate you for appreciating us.
Amen.
Anybody else have anything to say?
Thank
Well, I
you.
guess since we're all, oh, go ahead, Kathy.
No, I was just saying thank you.
I guess since we're all crying, and me and you, Rex, went over this in one of your segments before. You think you were this bad, horrible person, but in tonight's talk, that opens my eyes to some things. You were small, you were hurting, you didn't know how to express how you were feeling. And I wasn't, I don't want to say not capable, but I wasn't in the space to help you grow out of that. I was so busy trying to raise and work and feed and do everything that I
Survive.
didn't do everything that I should have done to nurture that part. And for that, I have to apologize because, like I said, we grow, we continue to grow. And at this point, I can only do better. But what I have learned is no matter what problems that we have, what kind of situations that we face, there is nothing that you can't overcome, and there is nothing that you can't make it through.
Okay,
So,
mother.
huh?
I said, okay, mother. Those are, those are some of the words she said to me.
But it's not, I mean, things seem like a big monster facing you when you have a problem. But like you said, pick at it a little bit at a time, work on it. And it may seem strong, a strong force against you, but tomorrow that attention is going to be focused on something else. Work at it and work together. And always realize that it's one common goal. Whatever is coming at you is for us to make it. Pulling each other over. When you're down, I'm gonna pull you. When I'm down, you pull me. And by that time,
Yes.
both of us will be up.
Yes.
And just like now, I listen to you say things, and some of the things you say is beyond my comprehension. And you did not get that from me, but I say I'm gonna take credit for it, like Vala just did. But there's nothing that we can't get over. Hurt, we can get over. Pain, we can get over. Broken relationships, we can get over. Just have a determined mind that we can communicate. We can do better tomorrow. We didn't do it today, but there's something else to work on tomorrow. And we can have a happy life if we learn those small tools: communication, listening with the intent to understand and to hear. But I think you have done a tremendous job in just this platform of being able to understand another perspective is huge.
Yes.
Great job. Yeah, Sonia, you did all of that. You did it all. That's what we say. That's the story, and we stick with it. I
I
can.
just want to piggyback off of Mama Sonia. And although me and you didn't grow up together, when I give Derek his credit. When Derek found out where you were and told me where you were, and I got a chance to come and see you and meet you like the first time all over again when you were born. I've tried to hold on to you. I don't want to lose you. I'm not going to lose you. But I just want to say that I have enjoyed this conversation. I love you. I appreciate everything that you're doing. I'm so proud of you. Just the man that you have become right before our eyes. I know they've known you, been in your life longer than I have, but like I said, I found you. I'm not letting you go. You can't get rid of me. I know where you stay. But I'm just so very proud of you, so very glad to be a part of your life, for you to be a part of my kids' life. And I just love you. I love you all. You guys took me in as your own, and I've never forgotten you. And I know I love Erica too. But I just want to say that I'm proud of you and thank you so much, because like you said, you didn't cause the hurt, and you didn't even have to apologize, but you did. And with that, it's just a blessing in itself.
Yes.
Hey,
I
Rob.
also want to thank you, Rex, for having this Zoom call today. I find out how much me and Kim are alike, and it makes me happy, being that my best friend name is Kim. But just hearing from everybody, and just like what Rex said, how we were pretty much saying the same thing, but in different ways, different forms. Hearing things differently than what you've been hearing, it does make a tremendous difference. Um, and I hope that we can do this again real soon with more people so that we can get more insight and more point of views about it. So yes, Rex, I do thank you for this. And I do love you with all of my heart, as well as everyone else on this Zoom call. And I look forward to the next one.
Well, thank you all for what you said. Try my best not to cry on camera, especially if I have to put it out on YouTube. But we've already passed that threshold now, so people are gonna expect me to cry in every episode. I'm gonna have to change my name. I
Walt,
say what now?
Walt, you came in at the end.
Yeah, I missed it. Sound like a good conversation.
That was by design.
Yeah, you dodged
He
the
had to
bullet.
test the waters before he came in.
You left me in here by myself.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rex. I was cooking.
Whoa.
But yeah, I mean, I just did a 6-month contract with Zoom, so I can have, I think, up to 50 people, 49 in here at once. So I mean, if you all want to do it again, just let me know and we'll figure something out. There was people that were supposed to be here, but they had other obligations, but they text me and they said they definitely want to be involved if we do it again. So there's a lifetime of topics that we can cover. There's one that we missed today was quality time, so we'll just have to get to that one on the next episode. But like I said in the part where nobody could see, I really appreciate you all for being here, for taking time out of your day off, your nap time, to be here. And I don't hope that this helps somebody. I know it'll help somebody. I just hope they find it in the time that they need it before all the pain settles in. Because once the pain gets in a solidified state, that's where you start to lose all that compassion and love. And once you lose that, that's another battle entirely. And yeah, it's good to have people like you all that I can call up last minute and be like, hey, let's do the Zoom call, let's change some lives. But I'm gonna use this point to wrap it up. So if anybody has anything they want to add, I'm gonna let everybody say what they want to say, and then I'll do an outro and we can get out of here and go back to sleep.
I do have one last thing I want to say, and it's to you, Rex. I absolutely love how you are so open about expressing your feelings when they come about. That's actually something that I myself wanted to work on, because when it comes to me expressing, I guess, that soft side, it makes me feel kind of weak, and I don't like to feel weak. So you do inspire me to just, I guess, when those feelings come about, to just let them be, let them flow. Because I see you a lot, you just let yours out, like with no second guessing, no second thoughts about it. So I do love that about you, and I do inspire to get to that point someday. Maybe not soon, but someday. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I do love that about you, and I hope to get to that point one day in the future.
In the future.
Well,
Amen, Erica.
there is a lot of second, third, fourth, and fifth thoughts. But Kim, do you want to say anything before we leave this place?
Oh, I was just saying amen to Erica.
Ain't valid?
Maybe a short thing. Family is so important to us. We were raised to take family in our bosom and hold on to it. And I would love to have a family show on like this at sometime in the future. I think we were raised in a household where the parents didn't say I love you. We already knew. And now my children, I can tell them I love them, I can hug them, I can kiss them. And I would love to have a family show on. You have done a great job, and I'm proud of you too. Everybody has my love. I love you. I may not know all of you, but I love you. Aunt KB, Aunt
You know
Sonia,
me.
Walt, Erica, of course. Uh, Kim, I can't forget Kim because my best friend's name is Kim too. And my newest niece, Hope. I love all of you. And love is something you can give, but you can't take it back. Once you give it, it's given. You can't. So I love you all.
I love you too.
Mama, Pops,
Hey,
y'all got anything y'all want to add before we get out of here?
You gotta add because you haven't been here.
okay, y'all need to recap everything y'all went over.
Okay. Are
No,
you
just
sure?
I think this was good. It was a good start because the more you think you know, there's always room for improvement and there's more to learn. Because
Yes.
I have learned some things from you all. And
Yes.
communication can make or break.
Yes.
And I just appreciate some of the things that you all said. And I think I can use some of those as well. But I love y'all too so much.
Mrs. KnewNeverYou.
Technical difficulties, sorry. Yeah, this has been great. My face hurts from smiling so much. I think some of the things we can take from this is not only do we all have things to work on, but each side of the relationship probably does. So it's good to use that effective communication because personally, I think if you're not growing, you're dying. And it's always good to be growing. It's always good to be learning. It's always good to learn more about yourself, but especially the person you plan to spend the rest of your life with. Since being newly married, you learn to focus on the bigger things, not the little things. You learn to just let some of that stuff go because we shouldn't be mad at each other. We should be working together to figure out the situation, or to really not so much be mad at each other, but more the situation and work together to figure it out. So it's still a lot to learn, but I think I've got some good people to rely on because I know some of you have some great advice. This has been wonderful. Thank you for hosting. KnewNeverYou.
And on KB.
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much. This has been so enlightening. Like I said, we need each other. I learned when my children were very young, like 2 years old, when the Lord was speaking through them. So we can learn from anybody. And I just appreciate each one of you. And my 2 newest nieces, well, I remember Kim when she was like 8 years old. I don't think I've seen you since then, but you look good. Two scriptures that keep coming to mind. I believe it's Luke 6:37. With men, these things are impossible, but with God, all things are possible. And then Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So together we can make it, you know?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I'll Erica had to dip out. I'll put those scriptures in the description for anybody that wants to look them up. But thank everybody for being here. I'll definitely set something up in the future about having a bigger call. And I don't know how long we've been going for today, but I know it's longer than 40 minutes. So I'm glad I went ahead and upgraded to the pro program. But thank you all for being here. I'm sure we're gonna help who knows how many people, and that's the whole point of it. But I am KnewNeverYou, and if you didn't know, now you do.
I just sabotage.